Yo, 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 hey guys, it's me, Future Nips. Today we're doing What If Deku was Yuno's reincarnation? Yeah, this is kind of surprising. Some of y'all have been waiting for this, some of y'all haven't. Pretty much, I posted part 1 about 2 months ago. So, yeah, it's kind of strange that I'm posting part 2 only now. But it's not really uncommon seeing as I take long breaks for no reason. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna be posting a few what ifs here and there between all my what if making. I mean, what if movie making, pretty much, because I decided that that's what I'm gonna be doing for a while now. So yeah, my next video is really gonna be part 2 of something else, or it's gonna be what if Deku was born in Madrigal, or it's either gonna be a special what if movie that you guys are gonna get to pick in my community tab. So go there and go vote and all of that. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it. Yeah, what else can I say besides play my intro? Let's straight into it. Pretty much Izuku, or this would be after Izuku just got his letter and all of that. I'm gonna say like a week passed. He got his uniform, all of that, right? So pretty much he's rocking up to UA High School, and he would be a bit early than he was in Canon this time because he just likes being early because that's the sort of style that someone who would be Yuno's reincarnation would have. But because of I'm gonna say not being lost but being confused, he would actually end up still being sort of late like he was in canon. So anyways, he would, walk into the classroom and would see 1A, right? First thought being in his mind would be, oh, the door's so big. But anyways, he would open up the door and there he would see Bakugo and Ida. And in this one, they wouldn't actually be arguing, but more of debating, right? They would be debating on which school is better and, yada, yada, yada. This would pretty much be because Bakugo and Ida were previously arguing, but because Bakugo was a lot more cool-headed in this one, he wouldn't actually argue as much, and he would actually be putting up a very solid debate on why Aldera High is a decent high school, and Izuku would just walk in on that, it's like, seems normal enough, and pretty much she would start walking forward. This is when he would hear a voice call from behind, saying, hey, it's you, the one who saved me, and he would turn behind and there he would see Ochako. Ochako would walk up to him and then, obviously thank him again, saying that he was so cool with the way he, destroyed the 0 pointer and all that. And that immediately catch all their attentions, right? The 0 pointer. He destroyed that? He doesn't even look like all of that. He must have a decently strong quirk then, obviously. That's what would be throwing in the minds of, most of them at the very least. So, yeah. Sorry about that sound, I just picked something up. But yeah. Anyways, this is when pretty much a yellow sleeping bag would then appear from behind the stand or whatever you call it, right? This is where Aizawa would then turn his face and would say, just you guys 8 seconds to realize I was here. It's not gonna cut it. Anyways, my name's Shoto Aizawa. I'm gonna be your teacher. Put on these uniforms or these gym out uniforms and get outside in 5 minutes. And this is when Izuku would just comply, right? Because Izuku obviously knows the way to, listening to teachers is a good thing, you feel me? It's something that, Yuno would actually do. Fuck, I keep on saying Yuno, I mean Deku, right? Shit. So yeah, it's pretty much what he would do. He would just grab the uniform and start walking out, right? So people would still be complaining, but Ochako would see this and she would just follow along too. Anyways, after a few seconds, everyone would realize that they might as well just go do it, because everything else that's happening in that day doesn't really matter besides potentially orientation, but orientation is going to help them become heroes. So they all go and they all, into their gym stuff and all of that, right? While Yugi was changing, Kyushin would have actually walked up and said, hey, under all those clothes, you actually do look pretty buff. Tell me, what's your workout and all of that, right? Izuku would have, replied with stone cold face, just like something normal, what you expect from me, like, an adult, I would guess. But because, they live in a quirk society, kids doing those exercises aren't exactly uncommon, but they're still, kind of hard. Fujian would say, okay, I see. Because because Izuku would have, sort of like swimmer build or something like that. And yes, he would be pretty decently strong, but he tended to rely more on his, reinforcement magic, which didn't make sense, as it's there for a reason. But yeah. Anyways, they would get done, and they would walk outside. While walking outside, this is when Aizawa would actually pull up, right? And he would pretty much just say, "Alright, this is gonna be an assessment. Anyways, Izuku Midoriya, you got first place on the UA entrance exam. Tell me, what's your farthest throw in middle school?" This is when Izuku would, obviously just reply up like, a normal number like 80 or like 90. And this is when Aizawa would say, now throw this while you are using your quirk, okay? Now this is when Izuku would pick up the ball and he would throw it, right? And then he then put his hand outwards, and from there it would suddenly get pushed by this massive gust of wind, right? Sending it about 8,000 kilometers? Yeah, 8,000 meters. Holy shit, 8,000 kilometers is a lot. No, 800 meters. Holy. But yeah, sending it about 800 meters. Everyone would honestly be surprised at this. Like, oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun, and like, if we might get to use our quirks and all of that, right? This is when Aizawa would see this and honestly be a bit disappointed, but he would say, anyways, yeah, this isn't supposed to be fun. The person who comes in last in this assessment is going to be expelled. And everyone would immediately start arguing, right? Saying, oh, that's unfair, and like, oh, we worked hard to get here too, and all of that, right? This is when Aizawa would explain, unfair? Really now? You guys are heroes. The villains fight unfair, yet we still fight them. So, it's not about it being unfair. Our hero's job is to combat that unfairness. Now, if you don't want to be expelled, try your best. And everyone would pretty much understand, because it's literally saying it himself, not right? Just try your best and don't come in last, right? So, pretty much, Izuku would breeze through the test with complete and utter ease. Like, it would be disgusting how fast he would go through all of it, right? He would only really use reinforcement magic and like slight wind magic, but nothing requiring of his grimoire, which I might mention is actually, he does have a satchel on his uniform for his grimoire, and it's just sitting there, right? People are a bit confused why he has a book on him, but they don't really care too much, right? Some of them who are in the same area as Yuko knows exactly what it's for, but haven't seen the full extent of it, or at least what they think to be the full extent, right? So anyways, right? This is when we reach Balthor again, and Balkan this would actually get, I'm gonna say, 825 meters, just because he's been training very, very hard to catch up to Izuku, and he put a lot more effort into the Balthor than Izuku did, right? This is when Aizawa would then call Izuku up again and say, hey, why don't you actually try this time? This would just shock everyone. Wait, what do you mean try this time, right? Because they'd only seen him use what they believed to be his quirk in a sort of weird manner, as he used reinforcement magic to cause a green glow around him and wind, so they thought it was a regular wind quirk, right? And it seems to me there's more to it, right? This is when Izuku just looks forward to him and he asks why. And this is when Aizawa says, maybe because I'll expel you. Everyone here is trying their best, here you are half-assing it. And even at that, you're still sort of beating them. I want them to see what the true extent of your power is. Plus, I don't really like students who don't try. So anyways, I suggest you do the Balthor properly. Anyways, Izuku would he would just nod his head, and he would throw the ball again, right? This time, he wouldn't even put his hand out, right? He would just have a grimoire float to him, and then he would use a spell, wind creation magic. Wind creation? Did I use creation magic? Yeah. No, I'll just use regular wind magic. He would end up using wind magic, Crescent Comet Itachi, right? To be like a very blunt version. So it wouldn't actually slice the ball, but it actually propel the ball, right? Causing him to get like 1,000 meters, right? This would surprise everyone. What? And even at that, he still didn't seem to be trying, right? Aizawa didn't really care at this point, right? He just assumed, anyways. He seems to be smart, right? Because he just assumed he lowered the power to not cut through the ball. Because the power he used to throw that ball was nothing compared to the power he used to pretty much to pretty much impale the 0 pointer in the last part, right? But anyways, as I was like, nice job. This is what the power of a true hero. This is what a power of a true hero looks like. Holy shit. Anyways, Izuku would pretty much just nod his head and he would walk back, right? This is when Bakugo would actually walk up to him, right? And unlike in Canon where, he goes to explode Izuku, he would actually raise his hand up, wanting a high five. And Izuku would, have a slight smirk on his face as he high fives. And they both walk back, right? In this one, the scoring would be a bit different, right? It would go Izuku first, Bakugo third, Bakugo second, Momo third, and Todoroki fourth, right? And they would realize that the two strongest people in the class seem to have a sort of like connection to each other, right? Nothing on like they seemed like brothers, right? Like if they didn't have such different hair colors and all of that, they would think, hey, they're definitely brothers, right? Because of the way that they act, right? Because if you guys know, siblings tend to either are like very similar or like very, very different, right? And pretty much they're like sort of both in a way, especially when it comes to like fighting, but they just seem to radiate the same sort of energy, right? But anyways, oh, what the hell happened to my elbow? But yeah, well, enough of my rambling. Holy, Izuku at this point would pretty much go to school for like the next day, I believe. It'll be like the next day. And as I would have dismissed the class yesterday because you wanted to go take a nap, plus you only needed them for the quirk exam at the start, right? It also mentioned that he's not going to expel the person who came in last, just to test the potential and all of that, right? So pretty much now we have the next day and it'll pretty much be the last class. This is when they realize that they have heroics one-on-one, right? 101. And everyone was wondering who the teacher was, right? This is when they start to hear, loud footsteps. And, some of them would think, oh, what's that? But some of them would think, wait, is who I think it is? And Izuku who would be able to sense him from outside the classroom would be like, All Might? And he'd also sense All Might during his exam. But he didn't really take, much to it because All Might did say there's going to be a teacher there. So yeah, this is when All Might burst through the door saying, I am here, walking the door like no more teacher and all of that, right? Then go to the front of the class and say that I'll be your hero or hero 101 teacher. And pretty much everyone would just go wild, thinking, wait, what? He's going to be our hero 101 teacher? It's All Might, the number one hero and all of that, right? Everyone would pretty much just be pumped up, except for Izuku. Bakugo would also be pumped up a bit. But he had already meet like All Might like once or twice because I must say he dropped in every now and then to witness Deku's training, and Bakugo was also training, so he's like, he's a good candidate for One for All. Too bad I already gave it to someone else, because he would have given it to Mirio after Deku rejected it, right? So yeah, now we have Now we have hero versus villains, right? Izuku's hero costume would pretty much just be Deku's hero costume would pretty much just be what wore in the first half of the, in the first part of Black Clover, right? Which would be this, which would consist of a pitch black shirt with a high collar and long sleeves. The sleeves would have brown leather that covers the wrists and upper arms, and he would also wear light brown pants that are cut above or cut below his knees, and around his waist would be a pair of brown belts that cross each other, and then he would also wear a pair of dark colored socks and a pair of boots. He carries his grimoire in a patch strapped at his right hand side of his waist, and he'd also be wearing the Golden Dawn's guild signature robes and all of that, right? He would have to be confused on why he chose this, right? But it just felt right when he was designing his costume for the first time, right? So that's pretty much what he would choose, and he'd be satisfied with it, right? He would feel like, this is good for now. It's relatively comfortable, and he doesn't really need any special items at all, because that by itself already felt good to wear. Like, he already very much liked wearing that, and it just felt comfortable. It was easy to maneuver in, and his quirk didn't really specialize in hand to hand, so having having a bunch of hero gadgets wouldn't really help, right? So anyways, he would walk out and he would look pretty good, to say the least. Not to mention, but Izuku is decently good looking, right? So everyone would look like, wow, damn, he does look like a hero, or something like that, right? because he would have gained, Yuno's looks and all of that. So they would all think, he does look pretty good, not gonna lie, right? And yeah, this is when Ochako would come up to him and say, my outfit came out a bit weird. Didn't really want it skin tight, but yeah. Anyways, that's a nice outfit you have. That's a nice hero costume you have, right? What's the symbol on it though? Like the one that's on the robe. This is when Izuku would just pretty much reply with, I'm not really sure myself, but it just felt right. And this would be, sort of like a calm manner, right? Because Izuku, even though he doesn't really know Ochako, still sort of knows her because, he sort of saved her. So he did expect her to talk to him every now and then because that's what he would do if someone saved him, right? Either that or just work harder to not have to be saved, right? But anyways, this is when Alma pretty much started doing the teams, and he would announce, all the teams. It would be the same ones in canon, and it would also be the same fights, right? We now have, after skipping a bunch of fights, we now have Izuku and Ochako versus Bakugo and Ida. In this one, Izuku would have actually conversed with her a lot more, right? He would say that at first he would send a swift white hawk to go do some surveillance around and find out where the bomb is. From there, he would then have her go to the bomb while he takes care of anyone who gets in their way of the bomb, right? So obviously, that's what he would do first, right? He would bring out his grimoire, and he would then cast Swift White Hawk. This would be in creation magic, of course. And if the hawk didn't have wind, if the hawk didn't seem to be made out of wind and wasn't and it wasn't white, people would actually think it was an actual hawk. That's how realistic it looked, right? So everyone would actually be surprised at this. But anyways, Izuku would then send it up to do some surveillance, find out that the bomb is on like the 4th floor or something like that, like the very top floor, which I'm gonna say is the 5th floor. So yeah, the hawk would then come down or fly down, and it would then pretty much sort of point at it in like a way, right? It would pretty much just fly up and sort of wave around that floor without letting itself be seen, and Izuku would realize that's probably where the bomb is, right? From there, he would tell Ochako it's most likely on the 5th floor. So let's start. So from there, Ochako and Izuku would start scaling up. Not scaling up, fuck. They would enter the building and they would, for lack of better words, just start climbing stairs, reaching floor to floor until they reach the 3rd floor, right? From the 3rd floor, this is where they would meet Bakugo, who's actually put himself there to fight Izuku. Because he knew that Ida stood no chance against Izuku, but he stood a decent chance, right? And from what they know, Ochako isn't really a fighter, but her quirk is anti-gravity, so it took out anything in that room, and they were just prepared, right? Izuku would sort of chuckle as he sees Bakugo. It seems you're finally gonna get our rematch, huh? Well, after I get her, past you. So anyways, this is when Izuku would tell Ochako to run, right? And Bakugo, who would still want to do this rematch, obviously, because he is still Bakugo. He does like a good fight here. He does realize that he does need to help his partner too. So quite obviously, you send an explosion directly at Ochako as she's trying to run by. So when Izuku would actually send a wind gust directly at this explosion, sort of blowing it back. And he would then send another one directly at Bakugo, right? And because Bakugo was already, in the delay of sending such an explosion, right? This is how he would actually get caught in it and actually get pushed directly into a wall, right? Hitting his back against him and it being kind of sore. This would allow enough time for Ochako to actually run by, and she would then make it up to the upper floors going to get the bomb. This is when Bakugo finally looked back and say, huh. Anyways, it seems you finally get to see who's the better one. Because I'm pretty sure our score is currently tied, right? 125 to 125. Let's see who's gonna be the tiebreaker. This is when Izuku would just smirk as he says, yeah, let's see. Immediately they would start, throwing hands. like at first, because both of them know that if they start using their quirk, it wouldn't even be interesting, right? And they did actually train in, some martial arts during the 10 months, because they did realize for people like Eraserhead, who has the quirk to, erase quirks, and they're not really sure if it works on Izuku's grimoire or not, but just in case, right? Just in case they can use their quirks, they trained in hand-to-hand combat. And nobody would be throwing hands, like, god damn, like, those hands were deadly, right? Well, this when Bakugo would then send a palm strike and then you send an explosion with it too, right? Just to actually catch Izuku sort of off guard, but just be able to barely dodge, right? By slapping his hand away, obviously redirecting the palm strike and not hit the floor. So when Izuku would then put his hand out directly in front of Bakugo's face and send a massive wind gust, and Bakugo would probably be able to dodge this, right? But not without at least being pushed back a bit, right? This is when Bakugo then starts flaring up with explosions, and Izuku would then have his grimoire floating beside him and his hand out. They would both have this sort of smirk as they rush into each other. Immediately start using quirks, right? Bakugo was an explosion here and there. Izuku using Crescent Kame Itachi, Gale White Bow, which ended up being the new ability he learned, and also Swift White Hawk, right? He usually use Swift White Hawk for attacks that Bakugo couldn't see coming. So let's say he sent a Crescent Kame Itachi directly at Bakugo would dodge, but then he'd run directly into the Swift White Hawk. But he'd be able to send an explosion and it's sort of dispersing it, right? And this would pretty much go on for a while until Izuku actually get contacted by it actually ended up being contacted by Ochako, which I'm gonna say they actually have a earpiece in this one, right? And where it says, "I need help. There's nothing in the room, right? I need some assistance and all of that." And Izuku realized, I gotta end this soon. If I'm correct, the time should be ending in about 10, maybe 40 seconds. No, in a minute, maybe 40 seconds. And he would immediately start like trying harder, right? And he would start preparing a move. He would be able to sense everyone pretty much in the building, because that's what happens whenever he extends his range. So be able to sense everyone in the building, and you'd realize that he needs to get Bakugo into the perfect spot to not only knock him out, but also to allow Ochako to get some materials to actually get the bomb, right? So this is when they would keep on fighting for a bit until Izuku would then let Bakugo send an explosion directly at him. This would hit him, right? And this would cause Bakugo to get a slight bit of overconfidence, saying, "Huh, I'm gonna win this one." And he would then rush in, right? This is when Izuku would then put his hand and say, "Wind magic, towering tornado." And Bakugo, off instinct alone, would realize what the spell was and would back up, right? But he wouldn't be able to completely escape the blow of towering tornado, right? As it would then rip through the upper layers of the building, causing some debris to blow off, and it would also blow Bakugo back directly into a wall, right? And I mean hard. And this would actually knock him out. And like the wall that he crashed into had like cracks in it, right? So yeah, this was a pretty strong tower tornado. It also wrecked through the upper floors, just like how Izuku's Detroit Smash It in canon. And it would just pretty much go to cannon from there. Ochako would, lip sync pieces, throw them directly at Ida. Ida would have just enough time to dodge, but this would allow Ochako to, safely occur the bomb. This is when they would come out of the room and everyone would, be clapping for them. They would actually the MVP was. And in this one, it would actually end up being Izuku, right? Because not only did he put up a good fight, he also came up with a plan. And even when he was in a pickle, he still found a way to help his teammate, right? And All Might would agree with Momo, and that's pretty much how that day would end, right? They would end up going home, Izuku and Bakugo walking the same way because they live in the same route, and Ochako and Ina would actually catch a train with them too. They would end up going their separate ways, and Bakugo would be kind of salty that he wasn't the tiebreaker, but still, right? Anyways, they would end up going home. I'm gonna say Bakugo actually had like dinner with the Midoriyas this night just because they're like that close. But yeah, after that Bakugo would go home and Izuku would head to bed. That's pretty much it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. This is What If Deku Was Yuno's Reincarnation Part 2, and yeah, I'm not sure whether I just want to set up like a new lake goal or whatever, but why not? I want to see if I can get to, I'm not sure, like 1,550 subs by like the end of this month. So yeah, for that I'm gonna be start uploading a lot. But anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this episode or this part. Please come back again. I got a lot more videos on my channel and a lot more coming out, right? That's pretty much it. And without further ado, peace out.